I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, let's do a quick blog here on the current rental situation here, rental rates. I talk about this every 3 or 4 months. Give you a quick update. I was on the phone recently with some of my investor clients. I always put out some feelers to many of them. I've got lots of them in Vancouver, probably over 100 investor clients easily that are renting condos in downtown, Richmond, New Westminster, but a lot of them are in downtown, Mount Pleasant, Kitts, everywhere. So I've got a pretty good beat on what's going on in the market right now, and as well as my own portfolio. So, they all tell me the same thing, that if any of them have had tenant turnover, the rents have gone up crazy here. Units, 1-bedroom units, that give you an example here, that I was selling 3 years ago. Let's say we were paying $725,000 for this 1-bedroom. We're renting for around $2,200. Now, that same unit would be renting for probably $2,700, $2,800. And I've got units, one that I just sold in the West End here, we paid $600,000 for it, that will rent for $2,200, maybe $2,250. So in other words, what was costing you $750 2.5 years ago, isn't you can now, to get to net a $2,200 rent, is now down to $600, can get you a $2,200 a month rent. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. I talked about this. I foreshadowed this to you guys many years ago during COVID. The NDP, of course, they have a war on landlords. That rental freeze that they put in during COVID, and then the measly increases that are far below what inflation and holding costs have been for landlords. 1.5% or 2% last year, 1.5% and 2% this year, which is ridiculous. And I said at that time, there are going to be some long-term landlords, guys that have had these properties for 15, 20 years, made a ton of money on them, because I was selling them, that said, enough is enough. This NDP government is strange. Socialist government, where is it going to end? And they're right. They just keep taking more and more steps, more taxes, more restrictions. You have to wonder where it is going to end with this current government. And Owen, I want to sell the condo. And I've told you guys from the front lines, most of these units I sold probably in the last, let's call them the last 2 years, I probably sold 15 condos that were tenanted from investors that were selling. Of those 15, I'm going to say that probably all but maybe 2 were end users. In other words, there's another 13 units that were taken out of the rental pool. And remember, I've said many times, the individual mom and pop landlord, like myself and like my clients, are providing the majority of the quality rental stock in Vancouver, especially downtown, Kitsilano. I mean, if you want to rent a detached house, you're dealing with an individual landlord. If you want to rent a luxury condo downtown, individual landlord. Any good quality 1-beds, usually an individual landlord. There's some stuff on the West End and a few new buildings, rental-only buildings, and some on the way, but most of the good quality rentals out now are condos owned by individual landlords. And the NDP does not like landlords. So, that took out units out of the rental pool, which I said, which of course then spiked the rent up. I've got the videos, go back, you guys can look for yourself. I said that this was going to happen, and that's what's happened here. The other couple of things here I'll talk about. And I told you guys at that time, I'm still working with lots of investor clients, especially now. Prices have softened a little bit and we're not getting into the bidding wars, and yet rental rates are sky high. Yes, you'll need some of those rental rates to offset the mortgage costs with the interest rates, but hey, mortgage rates, in my opinion, I know they're up to variable rate at 5%. Listen, for an old guy like me, that's still pretty good, and I think we're nearing the end of this tightening cycle. I think we're coming to the end. Maybe we get another couple more quarter-point hikes. Don't be surprised in a couple years, year and a half, we maybe see them come down a little bit. Lock in a 2-year rate and then review it after that point is what I would recommend. But, the other thing I've talked about, being a landlord in Vancouver here is pretty favorable. We've got some of the highest quality renters of any city that I can think of. All my tenants are high quality tenants. I've got many of them making well into 6 figures. A lot of them are in the tech industry. COVID is over now. Immigration is back open. You're seeing a lot more contract workers coming into the city, students coming into the city. We've got an immigration push on right now, the government of Canada. We're going to see something like 40,000 new arrivals every year into the Lower Mainland. This bodes well if you're an individual landlord looking to rent or currently have a one-bedroom condo or a two-bedroom condo for rent in Vancouver. So I think, the skies are still going to be pretty good despite the NDP, putting up every roadblock they can. The final thing, I saw in the news here, I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, I did that blog on the removal of the strata restrictions, rental restrictions. Well, as I speak, it looks like it's going to happen. Looks like Mr. Eby and the NDP are going to put this through in the next couple of days. Now, this is going to be interesting to see. It makes really no sense to me at all, but nothing with the NDP makes any sense. I don't even think they make sense anymore. I can't figure it out. The whole purpose of removing this rental restriction in strata was that apparently it's going to open up thousands of units that can be available for rent now. Okay, well, that's good. That's not a lot of units for the Lower Mainland here, but hey, every bit helps. But at the same time, you've got a war against landlords, NDP. You don't like landlords. Here you're encouraging them to buy these units and rent them out, but you really don't like landlords all that much. And then, as I said in my last blog on this, if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's got a whiplash effect on this. The reason he's taking those rental restrictions off, but that he's removing the last benefit, the last one advantage that first-time buyers, young buyers, and young families had, and that was going in to buy these condos in stratas that did not allow rentals. You got them at a discount. Substantial discount. I mean, it's basically 3 strikes on a condo. The rental restriction is the biggest one. Pet restriction is number 2, and age restriction is number 3, which I think he's also going to remove. Maybe someone can clarify. I'm hearing that they're also going to remove the age restriction on strata. So by doing that, it's now opening up these stratas to investors. So the first-time buyer that had a bit of an advantage there is now no longer going to have that advantage. It's a boon for my business, as I said in that last video. It's great for me. I would have liked to have seen it stay the way it is to give some young buyers and first-time buyers and young families an advantage. I've discussed this many times with my dad about this, because when I would list one of these units, half the calls would be, can I rent this unit? Can I invest in it and rent it? My answer was no. Click. So it was eliminating a lot of potential buyers. Now you're not going to have that. And, unfortunately for these first-time buyers, they're going to be competing against deep-pocketed investors, the investors I represent. There's no emotion involved with the buy. We're going to write, in a lot of cases, subject-free if I know the strata, and some of them I do very well. We're going to write subject-free, bank draft attached. They're not going to have much of a chance. And the other thing, people have been asking me, do you see a purchasing opportunity here? Yes, I do. I have a small database right now of good quality strata that do not allow rentals that I'll be keeping an eye on, and then I'm in the process now of updating that. But I've got a couple that are prime that, yes, if they remove that, you should give me a call, go in, we should buy one. And I think over the next 18 months, once you remove that rental restriction, now, of course, you're opening the full demographic of buyers in there. Watch those prices go up. You'll get, I'm just using this as an estimate, over the next 18 months, I could see those prices go up 15%, over and above what the market does. Simply because now investors can come in and buy those units where before they could. You've got the full demographic of buyers there now. So yes, there is going to be an opportunity there. But of course, the NDP doesn't understand that, I don't think. And it's amazing how people fall for this. They think, oh, it's great, they're going to open up more rentals. But there's a reaction to this that I don't hear too many people talking about except for myself. But hey, again, it's a boom for my business. It gives me dozens and dozens of stratas now for my investor clients that I wasn't able to buy into, that I can now add to my preferred stratas list. So there you go. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Thanks to everyone that continues to buy my book on Amazon. Still a bestseller on there. I'll see you next week.